Wale alibaki alikuja nyumbani, ile bana baki na kuisha kwa huko. Tulibaki, tunakubali, tumebaki, tumekubali, tumeitika.
Operation Africa Star, or African Star, is named after one of the medals that many of you will be presented today, the Africa Star, which is one of the campaign medals issued in the Second World War. So, Brigadiers, ladies and gentlemen, and especially our veterans today, for those of you who have talked to our veterans today, you'll see the amount of courage and effort it's taken for these men to be a part of the ceremony. With them, at their age, and the youngest is 101, the eldest being 106, it really shows that an old soldier, he may lie down, but he never truly gives up. So many of you driven for 4 hours today to be here, and for you, this day is all about you.
We come before you with hearts full of gratitude for the courage, sacrifice and dedication of World War II veterans. These medals before us are not just the symbols of honor, but the reminders of the bravery and selflessness shown in the face of great adversity.
One of our Remembrance Sunday parades, which happens on the 11th of November every year, a veteran came to me and he said, "We want our medals back. We had to throw them away during the Mau Mau in case people thought that we were in collaboration with the British." And so they were awarded their medals, but they threw them away. And what struck me at that time, because I had no idea how we were going to do it, was that these men were soldiers. They weren't fighting a political battle, they weren't fighting oppression, they were soldiers and they wanted to be acknowledged and respected as such. So I took it upon myself to find out about these soldiers' histories, who they were, what they were doing, what rank, what number. And Kenya's kept some great records with DeVoca. DeVoca really do shine when it comes to comradeship. They do look after their own. And it took me 7 years to 8 years now to find out the details about the men, but we eventually got it and we started the process. Congratulations, round of applause please for Private Mogoi. Private Mogoi.
The process is quite tedious, I would say, because identifying the veterans from the county, getting the roll call of those veterans who fought or who were recruited in the British League then during the Second World War. Then we ask for the documents, whatever documents they have. Once we get the documents and the service number, now we take them to the British for them to confirm that this individual really operated during the Second World War. Thereafter, Matok and his team take it to the archives. Now they go through the process and the archives of where this individual was deployed, what medals he received during that time. That is the time now we get the feedback.
Wonderful. Round of applause, please.
That's the time now we compile the list. And now we go back again to the counties, get in touch with the county officials, and we be able to compile and organize these events.
From Kisumu, Kema Petro, Private Ochola. Round of applause, Private Ochola. Well, the key is you've got to find the records of the men, and we used a company in the UK called Spink. The formal British military and service histories were very difficult to get into the records, and so we outsourced that to Spink. Spink helped us enormously to research the men, research their units, research their serial number, their army number, to verify which campaigns they had been involved with and therefore which medals they were to be awarded.
Africa Star Project has been a great endeavour. Much of that has been out with my office. We have supported through the British High Commission and back into UK as well, both in terms of really getting hold of the medals and assisting with the archiving, looking through the records. But I personally have been involved really for the last 12 months. The highlight has been handing out medals to the veterans themselves. It's a real honour to hand them out.
Private Charumbe from Nandi County.
One of my uncles was also in the war, and I remember how he took it as an important event for him. Today I felt honored to be with them and to actually be in a function where they are rewarded, because many of these veterans were never recognized during their war. They fought under very difficult conditions. They were going into a foreign country that they had never been. They were under the command of somebody who they had never met, and people who probably their languages were not theirs, and so they had communication barriers, but within all these constraints, they were able to deliver.
But Sergeant Timothy Sawa Songok.
Thank you, Sergeant. It does evoke quite a lot of emotions for me. There's both family connections, from both of my grandfathers fought in the Second World War and survived, like these people, but of course many people didn't. It also evokes in my mind the trials and tribulations they've been through themselves, the Kenya veterans. And back to my own experience, a couple of friends who died in Afghanistan, so I always think about them on sort of slightly poignant days like this.
Cái tari cái nhị ta cái có nu e selu cái mong qua ta te sa e cái nhị na boy cái ba coi rang kun cái jut pe cái ba coi bama có bama có mi gu này gu no có Tokyo có mi gu no gu có ma si ba ma sai cái ba gu no to ya marke tipo hindi lagi ko tatuloy gemong.
War is hell. War is hell. And it is. I had one grandfather killed at Dunkirk, and I had another grandfather that was taken prisoner at Dunkirk. They force-marched them from Dunkirk through to Poland with 39,000 other British prisoners and French prisoners, and many of the injured died en route. So for any of you that are out there who've got no idea of what these gentlemen did for themselves, for their country and for us globally, then just start to understand the gravity of what really happens in war, and it is hell. My grandfather subsequently spent 5 years in a prisoner of war camp in Poland, and he's forced to work in the salt mines. And when he came back from war, he was a broken man, absolutely changed. But what he always was, and that is what I see in front of you now with our veterans, he was a soldier. He was a military man, and his determination and grit to continue with life after such adversity was paramount. It led him, his life, and our family.
It is so fulfilling, recognition of this gentleman who actually expressed the desire to serve in the British military. Then, at the age which they were then, and the age which they are now, and the time they left the service, you'll find most of them served between 5, 8 years, 10 years. They just joined, and they were out of the country, in a country of unknown. They had no idea where they were, and they were fighting for the crown.
The peace and stability that took place after the Second World War was due to their service and their men and women like them who served to defeat Nazism and the Japanese Empire. So what does it mean today? I really hope that young people today, including my children, understand that war is hell and that should never be gone through again.
It's special for me, but for the men, for the veterans who it's all about, I think there is almost a relief, a recognition. And I think that's the important thing. These men are very senior in year, and that's why the program has only got a limited amount of life, because the men only have a limited amount of life. So now we've got to try and get as many out there as we can, and as many men recognized and awarded. And so for them today, and you saw their faces, is really important. More important than any of what we believe is important.
I think first of all, we need to be able to document and share the stories of these people. Most of whatever these people did is not documented. I know what my great uncle went through was never documented. He talked to us, we listened to his stories, and we know, but it is written nowhere. So this is a chance for us to document, put them in videos, put them in written print for the future generations. For the younger generations, I think it's important for them to learn that peace and freedom is not really free. There are people who actually went, there's blood which was lost for us to be where we are today. And so they must recognize that by understanding, first of all, and getting to know what actually happened and what brought us here today. And let them be encouraged that at one point or the other, you might be forced or you must be called upon to stand in for good and to make sacrifices for the future generations that come after you.
Once you've shared a trauma with a fellow man, you'll understand what comradeship is all about. You'll understand why you're doing it, and it isn't for a government agenda. It's not for your country even. It is for the man standing next to you in a trench in some godforsaken country with the rain pouring down your back, and you're doing your job next to a man who's equal.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.